Scott Coleman, and there are probably a lot of people who will watch this video and wonder, why is Scott getting baptized? I was saved 12 years ago, almost exactly, on February 12th, 1999, and never got baptized, and throughout the years have kind of wondered if it was something that I really needed to do. I understand that it's more of an outward symbol of salvation, and never really felt like that I needed to do that, because just me being involved in church ministry I thought was a pretty outward symbol. I started reading The Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren, and he talks about how baptism is really an initiation into God's family, and I just felt like that even though it was something that I had never done, and even though it had been so many years since I had been saved, it was still an important thing that I needed to do. And so I just decided that I would do it, and the timing of it just worked out pretty cool, because you know, I'm right in the time where it's going to be 12 years now that I've been saved, and I thought, what a cool thing to be able to be baptized on an anniversary. My parents pretty much raised me in church. I've been Nazarene all my life, but I pretty much just lived in my parents' faith, and just thought that what a Christian really meant was just going to church and being a good person, and you know, live that growing up. And then when I went away to college, just got out of the habit of going to church, and really got away from those things, from being a good person, and from going to church. And I started hearing in sermons the question, if you died tonight, where would you go? Do you know? Do you know that you know that you would be in heaven if you died? And I wasn't sure about that. I thought I was a Christian, but I couldn't say for sure whether or not if I died I would go to heaven. Well, I got invited to go to a youth conference as a chaperone by my brother and sister-in-law. This is right in the midst of that time of me trying to figure out what it really means to be a Christian, and part of what I had been struggling with was the fact that I felt like there were things I needed to change in my life before I could become saved. And anytime that the salvation message was presented to me, I always said the same thing. I'm not ready. I need to get some things in order before I can do this. I knew it was something I needed to do, but just didn't ever feel like I had my act together. And so I go to this conference, and on the second night the pastor gets up and he talked about that very thing, about that you can never get your act together. There's Jesus accepts you right where you are. And so I listened to that, and I thought, wow, that's good stuff. And then he says, I'm going to give you the opportunity to accept Jesus into your heart and life tonight. And he said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to count to 3. And when I say 3, I want you to stand up if you want to be saved tonight. And you know, I immediately began to think about the people around me. I'm sitting in a youth conference full of students and my brother and sister-in-law, and I'm supposed to be a chaperone. And I just, you know, I started to talk to the Lord, and I said, Lord, I can't do this here. I can't do this in front of teenagers. I'm supposed to be a chaperone here. I'm supposed to be a leader. I can't get saved at a youth event. And the pastor, after he said 1, he said, I want you to not be thinking about the other people in the room. I want you to picture yourself in a room by yourself, just you and the Lord. You in a chair, and there's no one else in this room. I want you to focus on that. So I said, okay. So I just focused on me sitting in the room, just me and the Lord. And then he said 2. And when he said 2, my heart began to beat out of my chest. I just got really uncomfortable. And I said, Lord, I really can't do this here. And he after he said too, he said, there are a lot of you in here and your heart is going like crazy right now. And he said, if that's happening to you, that's Jesus knocking on your heart, and he wants to come in. And he said, in a minute I'm going to say 3, and when I do, if you want to accept salvation, I want you to stand up. And I prayed to the Lord and I said, God, you know my heart, you know this is what I want, but I don't think I can do this. I need you to help me. I said, I want to stand up when he says 3, but I don't think I can. And he said 3, and I shot up like a rocket, prayed the prayer of salvation, and got to sing some worship songs, which was an amazing thing to be able to worship really for the first time. Thank my family, my parents, for raising me in church, for keeping me in church. They always made sure that I was there. There was no excuse for us to not be in church. You know, there was no game that was too important. There was no, you know, nothing else going on that was more important than being in church. Number 2, I'd thank my brother and my sister-in-law for inviting me to that youth conference. You know, I'd like to thank Pastor Page just for being the pastor of a church that really emphasizes the importance of being saved and having a relationship with Christ. And when I came and visited this church, you know, pastor's the one who stopped me at the door. I really had intended to come and sit in the back row and then leave and just kind of get a taste for the church, but pastor stopped me on the way out the door and said, you need to, let me introduce you to some people. And that's really what kept me in the church. And then of course, you know, thank Jesus Christ for being patient with me, for allowing me after 25 years to be in a place at the right time where my spirit was willing to listen and to accept Him into my heart and life. And He's never stopped being that way. He's been so patient with me and continued to help me grow and learn and give me more passion and more of everything that I need to be more like Him. And it's been really exciting.